Good morning, good afternoon, and welcome to another TAUS webinar. My name is Annemai van der Meer, and I'm very happy that you all tuned in to this annual event, where we present to you the TAUS program for 2021. But before we do that, maybe we can have a look at the agenda for today's webinar. First of all, I'd like to introduce you to the new TAUS team. You will see a few of our faces already on the screen here. Then after that, we'll dive into our archives. We are now 15 years old and we have done a lot of predictions over the years. So we'll have a look at those together with a couple of our panelists, whom I'll introduce shortly as well. Then we'll go into the TAUS program for 2021, where we talk about the data marketplace that we're launching the end of this month. We'll talk about some of the data services that we are offering in the package, the human language project, and of course the events and media that we're planning for the coming year. Then we'll also, of course, talk about how you can engage with TAUS, and the webinar is closed with more of a discussion and Q&A together with our panelists. So having a look at the new TAUS team, as you may have already seen from the updates that we're doing on social media and the events that we're having, when we started in 2005, we were very much a pure think tank, but we have evolved now. We are calling ourselves the Language Data Network. I'm not going too much into detail now because Jaap will do that shortly. But that means also that the TAUS team has changed a little bit. We are now very heavy on the technology and NLP side. You'll hear today from two of my colleagues, Anderson and Amir. Half of our team, 15 people, are working in the technology and NLP side. And then we also have another 8 people working on the business, the product, marketing and events, HLP, which is the Human Language Project. So yeah, actually the past year we've grown from about 15 people to 23 people. Also here in the call today are Milos Milovanovic, who will introduce a bit more about the TAUS program, and Dace Zagutse. I think you are all familiar with her as well. I mentioned the panelists we'll have today, a few of our partner board members. We have them also on a slide with their faces, but you'll see also them here on camera. We have Jim Compton from RWS Moravia, Jean Senelaar from Sistron, and Wayne Borland from Dell, who will be logging in shortly as well. And I think that is all for the introductions. And Jaap, it's time for you to take a look into the archives.
Yeah, it was a very interesting journey. Almost 15 years. 2005, we started with this grand idea of translate. Well, yeah, let's just go quickly over the whole history here. 2005, we started TAUS a bit sort of almost accidentally. I think a lot of people have heard the story, running a roundtable meeting in San Francisco, January 2005, with the early adopters of machine translation, so some of the big tech companies, and everybody liked this idea so much of exchanging some experiences with machine translation. They asked me to continue this, and this is how TAUS got started. But already we couldn't just stick to discussing ideas. Early on, we got this idea of putting all of the translation memories together in a cloud-based repository. Wouldn't that be sort of a real game changer for everybody? So we got the funding from the members to create a data cloud, the TAUS data cloud. In 2008, we went live, which raised, of course, for a lot of people the question, or made the question more urgent, because it was already a question in the pure human translation days, if you like. How do we know we deliver the quality that the end user really needs? So with our think caps on, we started investigating how do people measure quality, establish quality. concept of quality and translation, and we came up with a whole new framework, the dynamic quality framework, DQF. And next we created a dashboard where people could benchmark their quality and productivity on translation. And then we developed kind of a new generation of services on top of the old data cloud, which help people in the days of neural machine translation to get better selections of data using this clustered, unique clustered search technique that Amir later will talk perhaps a little bit more about. Which increased the traffic on our data platform so much that we got more and more questions. We used to get these questions frequently, but now they really became more precious, so to say. We can't find the data that we're looking for. Of course, we don't have full coverage of all the languages in the world, so we saw a great opportunity for TAUS to become really active in what is called low resource languages. We developed communities in Southeast Asia and India, Middle East, and we started to create new corpora with these communities on our own platform, Human Language Project platform, which leads us now to the launch of the data marketplace. And we'll talk about all of this in today's webinar. But let's go back to that very first moment, January 2005, how it all started. We were so intrigued by this concept of translation being similar to electricity or internet. You know, you just plug it out of the wall. You know, it's always there for everybody on this planet. And we wrote our manifesto, and it's interesting to kind of go back and read that. We'll share the link if you like. But from that concept, we started really painting the future and broke it down in decades. So maybe we can have a look at that. Yeah, and I don't know if you all remember this. It was a sort of a great sort of a crafting there to simplify the evolution of our industry. And of course, you know, we started in the globalization phase, if you like. So we started looking back. How did we do translation in the 80s? Maybe that was only shortly after translation was recognized as an industry. It probably started around after the Second World War here in Europe and in North America, as kind of more of an organization, agencies being established. Today we have, I believe, 20,000. Nobody can count them really, of these small agencies doing translation. So it's a real industry, although maybe to a large extent still a cottage industry. It became a bit more serious with the desktop computers in the localization days in the 90s. And then we started talking about ourselves in our industry as globalization agencies at the beginning of this millennium. And then we started looking forward and said, what's going to happen next? And then we kind of painted the integration phase where translation running on GMS systems, TMS systems would start to become a sort of an integrated into other enterprise functions, you know, in content management systems, in customer relationship management systems, into HR systems everywhere, so that translation would become available throughout the enterprise and not just service the export of products and services. So that was a big shift, and then we saw in the next decade sort of the convergence. And that's probably where we're in this already for some time, where we're looking at real-time translation, and it's becoming the motor for innovation. The launch of lots and lots of apps and features and products where language or translation is somehow an enabler or an accelerator. Getting ready for the 30s, who knows? The singularity decade, where everything is totally fully automated. So that was our picture of the industry, and it's interesting in a moment to kind of reflect on that with our panelists today, with our partner board members, and see how they looked at this evolution of the industry. And here's just two more pictures. You know, we talked then at previous meetings of TAUS and webinars, and when we still have face-to-face meetings, real-life meetings with our community, talked about the 8 things to change in our industry, going from the last century to this century. And the last century, everybody was sort of in the export mentality approach, you know, top-down globalization. One translation quality fits all. You select your locale, you count your words, you own your content. Your translation memory is core to this process. So you dig up your old memories and you define a project and send it down your cascaded supply chain. It's all driven by the publisher, by you, the customer, but it's unidirectional. And then we're in this new century, the 21st century, and we see that there are actually many worlds that we're servicing. And it's not just top down, but it's bottom up. The users are pulling information from the net, from your website, and they may not go through the official route only. They may get it from peer review sites, and they apparently suddenly are happy with the gist quality of translation. We also cannot predict where they are. They may be in locales where we, as a publisher, have not even taken care of, where we haven't provided the translation. So you have the long tail languages, and the content becomes unlimited. It's not just your own content, but it's the content that people are willing to share with you. And in this time and age, we discover that data is core, even though our technology is maybe not completely up to the levels that we need yet, but we start experimenting with statistical machine translation. And now, of course, we have neural MT, and it's fantastic because it's starting to really deliver the quality we need. So the continuous translation streams, and we have new models, collaborative crowdsourcing platforms. A lot of it is driven by the user, the push and pull, and it's multi-directional. A new world we find ourselves in today. Well, what do you think, Jean? Has it worked out the way you envisioned 15 years ago? Or Jim, whoever wants to go.
Hello, yeah.
Switch on your video. Yeah.
Yes. So yes, it's very exciting to see that 15 years ago slide and projection. I think that there is many things that we can comment on, and I will be quite short, but there is some point where we didn't see where the future was going. So typically NMT was not there, we could not think about that. And it reflects on many points, for instance, the number of language. Your projection for 2030 is already achieved on the 150 language, to 150 language. So there it was kind of under projecting. I think that the 2030 will be probably 1,000 or 2,000 all the active language in the world that we can do. On some other point, it's very interesting to see that things have changed in a way that we could not predict at all. I still remember that you are mentioning 2005. 2005, I remember this talk of Frank Hoche in Phuket MT Summit. He was saying it is the end of the small players. It's the end of MT, as you know, because the game now is data. And when he was mentioning data, it was data with a D and with the size of the data. And this was true for a few years, but it's not true anymore. So we are mentioning a zettabyte of data, but the size not anymore the main criterion today. And it's very interesting evolution of something that we didn't anticipate and nobody could see coming. I have also one point of that on which I would like to comment, and I like your 20th century view and the 21st century view. And I think still that there is something at some point where we are not still there. The data owning content, which is in your slide, the 20th century view. And there is a lot of sharing today. And I think that we are still at the very beginning of this sharing, because sharing doesn't mean giving. And today, the view we have of the data is, what can I find on the web? And basically, if it's on the web, I can use it. And I think we are still missing something here, which is what is the ownership of the data. And people want to, of course, to share, but sharing doesn't mean giving. And I think this is still something that is to come.
Yeah, but we'll probably come back on that later, because we'll talk about data marketplace today, our launch, and so that's a good question later as well. Jim, how did this journey go for you? Where were you in 2005 when we started TAUS? I didn't know you yet at that time.
No. 2005, I was a process and technology architect at a big LSP, Lionbridge, and we were focusing on, I mean, I think you're right about the 20th century model. It was very much project-centric. The idea is that you had content, and then you would sort of transform the I mean, this was the model, right? You transform the content, but it was unidirectional. Cycle times were like measured in weeks, right, as opposed to milliseconds. And I remember we were very focused on basically translation memory, like maximizing how translation memory metadata could benefit, like the optimal use of that. I do remember we were talking about machine translation, but I think still in the context of this idea of a project, not this idea of it as an embedded feature within something else. So that's where I was.
Yeah. And I don't know if Wayne is already on the call. Are you here?
I am here.
Ah, great. Where were you in 2005, Wayne? And did you experience the journey the same way as we did, or do you have any observations you'd like to share?
So in 2005, I hadn't quite gotten into translation yet, but probably was by 2007 or so. And I would say, you know, just as people were talking, I was kind of looking over the chart about, you know, where we are and where we aren't. And, you know, I think the reality is many of us are sort of further along in some of these rows, but in others, you know, we're not quite as far along. When I think about languages, we're still very much an English to everything else. You know, we do other languages into English, you know, is a very small percentage of our overall volume. But in other cases, you know, we're very much, personalization is something that's we very much are focused on in our web content. When you think about, you know, convergence and embedding, you know, I think, you know, COVID has forced us into this world where we're very quickly, you know, moved to what we're doing now, which is virtual, and that's really had a tremendous impact on the way we think about everything that we do. So, you know, I think, so the point is, I think from an enterprise standpoint, we're in 2020 or beyond in some areas, and in some cases it still feels like we're in 1980, maybe not quite 1980, but you know,
Right.
I think it's not, you know, we're not moving one column at a time, you know, all the way down the rows.
Yeah, great. Yeah, thanks. Okay, well, thank you, Jim, John, and Wayne, for sharing your kind of perspectives on this evolution. And we'll come back. Oh, there you are, Wayne. Good to see you.
Sorry.
We'll come back to you after we've reviewed the program 21, and look forward to discussing that with you as well. Well, the program, I'm going to hand over to the TAUS team, but you'll see that, well, first of all, we're not really going to retire the TAUS think tank. We'll continue thinking, of course, and also sharing these thoughts with you. But a lot of what we talked about in the past is becoming reality. So just, you know, we wanted to show to you today, we're not just talking the talk, we're also walking the walk. We've become a data company, and you know, this is our mission statement: ideas transformed into action. And you'll see we're a full-blown data provider, and we're trying to do things a little different in the data space, different from the other players in the sense that, you know, who are active in this sector, and how different that is. You know, I'll summarize at the end of the presentation of the program. So over to Milos, I think.
Hello, everybody. I hope you can hear me and see me. I'm Miloš Milovanović. I'm head of business at TAUS. I'll start my part of presentation with what TAUS offers. TAUS, as the language data network, obviously offers data. And here with the data part of our story, I'd like to point out that we are moving our data cloud that's been there for like 15 years to the data marketplace. So data marketplace is something that is coming in the end of this month, and where our evolution in data sharing from data cloud is moving to the data marketplace. As you know, in the data cloud, there are like 35 billion words, it's 600 language pairs. And on top of these data cloud data we gathered during 3 years, we built up a services like matching data, which is a cluster search technology for creation of domain specific and tailor-made data set that matches the needs of our clients. And as part of this model, we're also publishing these created data sets in a TAUS data library that is a page on the website. But next to the services that are more or less familiar, I also want to point out the data creation that is happening through our HLP platform. So far, we're specialized in low resource languages in India, Southeast Asia, and Middle East. During this year, we created more than 20 data sets, and these numbers will keep growing. So we see a creation of data sets through crowdsourced communities and as one of the leverages and way to go into the future. So next to the traditional services, what we have now in the portfolio is data marketplace that is coming end of this month, and creation of data through the data crowdsourced communities. Next to the data, obviously, we also have data services that consists of cleaning, anonymization, quality review, entity tagging, and other data services that bring your data or data of our clients into a good shape to be used for machine translation engines training. We see the data piled up during the years, and that some of our clients actually need these services. So these services are offered as automatic solution, as semi-automatic, or a completely manual solution by our HLP community. And furthermore, just to mention that cleaning and anonymization will come as free services for everybody who decides to put the data in the data marketplace. This is a part of the deal we offer to our data sellers, but my colleagues will talk about it further in the next slide. Custom solutions that TAUS offers are implementation of our technology and knowledge, learning gathered during the years into the systems and the workflows that our clients and that our partners have. So we also see a DQF as a part of the custom solution, as we noticed that during the implementation, a lot of things have to be customized depending on a CAD tool or a project management tool. A lot of specific technical adjustments need to be placed, and we deliver that as DQF as a part of custom solutions, but also there is no really limitation here because we can implement also like matching data or a combination of different services and offer to our clients as part of the custom solutions. And last but not least is the training. We already have quite a few courses through our e-learning platform. Some of them are post-editing, quality management. The last one we delivered recently is transcreation course. And as we are focusing on the data in the end of this year and in 2021, obviously we are working on the course for data management. And what I also want to mention is that we also have a possibility for customized training on premise if things get back to normal, but if not, we can organize customized trainings online, of course. With that, I would like to conclude this slide and bring the mic to Anderson. who will tell you more about the data marketplace.
Thank you very much, Milos. Hi, everyone. I hope that you can hear and see me. So yes, with all these changes that we just talked about, TAUS is bringing a new platform to the industry by the end of this month, and we will keep evolving it along the next years to come. So, and this is the data marketplace. So the data marketplace is going to be a place where everyone that has translation memories will be able to publish it for sale and maybe make some money out of it, and allows other people interested in translation memories from different languages to find that data. So this seems a simple thing, and connect these both words is indeed something that is not so trivial. But the marketplace, what is going to be the differentiator factor there is that the marketplace is going to be a platform that will improve the data that comes in to be better suitable for machine translation. So the focus in the industry nowadays is like using machine learning to do several tasks, and one of those tasks is translation. However, as most of you may know, there is not so many data available. The machine, the algorithms are not going to perform well. So to make these algorithms perform good, you need to have data, but not only the data itself. The data needs to be in high quality. So the idea of the marketplace is connect the people interested in sell the translation memory with people interested in buy the translation memory, but offering together with this enhancement, improvements on the data that is going to be traded in the platform. So just to bring the data, the platform will make the data go through a process where it's going to clean the data coming in, where process like language check verification are going to happen, language length matching, and other several cleaning steps will take place to guarantee that the data that is coming is high quality. So this is going to be the differentiator in the marketplace, where the data there, when found, if the data that's found in the marketplace is going to be trusted to be high quality. So these steps that the platform will make the data goes through, we offer the cleaning and also anonymization, where the uploader will be allowed to see what are the possible sensitive information within their data, and decided to remove it from the final published data in the platform. And also the platform, we allow the seller, the one that is bringing the data, set the price that they want for their data. But setting price might be something tricky, so the platform will also hold a price index table where the price suggestions will be made out of it. So this price index table will work based on the language heritage. So depending on the uploaded data that is being brought to the platform, if that data, we don't have too much availability of that data in the platform, then the suggested price tends to be higher, because then we are seeing that we are receiving a low resource language data, and this nowadays tends to be valuable. But this is just to support the seller. So the seller will find environments that they just need to bring the data, and most of the other steps that is really that is necessary to take to put something on sale is going to be supported by the platform. And then after all, the seller just needs to publish it, or yes, how as Milo just said, they can just get their data, they can just buy their data cleaned if they don't want to publish. But if they want to publish their data, they will be able to get the data cleaned for free, as long as they keep the data for sale in the platform. So on the other side, we have the buyers that will be able to find in many ways data in the platform. So they will be able to come in the platform and say, okay, you're saying that you have data there, so please, I want to know how much of the English to Greek you have in your platform. And then we are going to show right away all the information that we have about all the statistics that we have about all the data that we have English to Greek, things like the amount of segments, the amount of words for each side, the source and the targets, how many documents, how many translation memories are involved, and the price for that. So someone interested in buy can buy right away this whole amount of data. Also, they will be able to see samples and understand better what the data is about, what is the domain, the content type of the data. And then they will be able to, through the platform, initiate a purchase transaction, and after successful completion, the data will be ready for download, but it will be the cleaned data, the high quality data, where most of our target buyers, they will be able to just insert this data in a machine learning pipeline to train their models. So this is the target with the marketplace. But being it a platform, and as you can see about, you're going to see soon by Amir, or data services, all data services that we are going to be offering at TAUS, they are going to be also being offered in marketplace. So that means that the platform will be always evolving to something that makes the data inside it ever high quality, and a data that is going to be always better suitable for machine learning pipelines. So this idea will be, we believe that is going to be very attractive for anyone that has translation memories and want to make it available for sale, and the other side, anyone that is interested in improves their machine learning translation systems and wants to have a place where they can trust that they can get data and just use it to improve their systems. So this is what is coming by the end of this month, and this is our next big thing for the 2021 is the data marketplace. And I think with that, I can hand over to Amir, or we are going to make questions now. At the end, right?
No, not questions. I just wanted to say to everybody that it's good as an announcement. Now there will be a lot more publicity and meetings in November when we're live. So I'm sure there's lots of questions from everybody, and we'll have some time at the end of this webinar to take questions already. Yes, Amir, sorry.
Yeah, thanks, Anderson. So this sounds very exciting. I think with the data marketplace, we will going to generate a lot of new data for different domains and then languages. So my name is Amir Kamran. I am the head of NLP, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about the data services. You've already heard some of the things from Milos and Jaap. So as Jaap mentioned, that we have evolved over the last decade to this language data network, and over the years we have gathered a lot of expertise of data manipulation, data storage, data collection, and now we are actually bundling different things together to offer all these services. Some of these services will be part of the marketplace as well, but we are also offering all the features as separate services with the option of customization according to the needs of the users. So for example, for the data cleaning, we have a lot of customized rules, and with all the data that we have collected over the years, we have customized models trained for different languages. And on top of that, we can add any requirement that is coming from a user, a specific requirement that cannot be part of the automation process. We can add on top of that the manual process, and we can clean your translation memories to be more effective, or to make the translation memories ready for used in machine translation training, for example. Similarly, for the data anonymization services, it's a very hard task for an automated tool to basically identify which data to anonymize. So there are a lot of tools available for name entity recognition, which can identify that what is a personal information, but whether that personal information needs to be anonymized, and that's a semi-automated or a manual task. And with the help of our human language project capabilities now, we have the crowdsourcing, where we can use the human effort to basically do these kind of customized jobs and provide an anonymized version of the data to make sure that all the privacy concerns are removed and the data is ready to be used in different services. Similarly, we can have quality review services where we can again use all our expertise that we collected over the years and through the different projects. We can apply automation to that, but also again, with the help of the human language project, we can add crowdsourcing efforts to add tags and quality reviews to the output that can become a corpus that can be used to train different models, or directly used to do the quality estimation of the systems. Now we are adding more services through our HLP platform, which we are going to hear more about soon. Some of these are data annotation services, and we are going a little bit beyond just the text. So we are also adding speech and images and data curation tasks. So the crowd can add annotations to different things according to the requirement of the clients. But then we can also have this capability to add automated testing and automated curation features on top of all this to improve the quality of the data that we're generating and to improve the productivity as well. And we are all very open to any kind of customization, because all our platforms are built in-house, and we have the capability to adjust it according to the needs of our users and clients. Then we have some on-demand services to collect data as well, whether it's just crawling from the web, or whether it's licensing from other vendors about images, transcriptions, and many more features are coming soon. All of these are separate services which we can offer based on automation, semi-automation, or manual work, and we can customize it according to the needs of the users. One of the services that was already launched a year ago, which is called Matching Data Service, which is basically a cluster search to find out similar data within our data cloud, which was a huge repository. Now this will also going to be part of marketplace, but we will still offer that as a separate service, so that if there is any need of further customization, because in the marketplace platform, the customization will be limited. But if you have need of more customization, that could be run as an extra standalone service, and we will going to offer that. Yeah, I think who's next?
That's me.
Yeah, that's
Hi,
it.
everyone. Yes, thanks, Amir. So a couple of more words about Human Language Project, or HLP. I think it's a very good example of one idea that has been transformed into action in the past year by TAUS. So as my colleagues already mentioned, there is increased demand for language data, not only in European or Western European or Eastern European languages, but in all the languages of the world. But we do see that in many of these languages, data is scarce, and if the data cannot be acquired in any other way, that another way to get access to this data is to generate it from scratch. And this is also something that we embarked on in the past year, This is where we put the HLP project into practice through generation of content into a variety of Indian and Middle Eastern languages. And we did that with the help of our crowd. So we have been identifying, recruiting communities all over the world with the help, very often with the help of our academic members, the universities, who would help us get in touch with local native speakers who would not be professional translators, but who would have enough language skills and interest to perform small tasks that they can earn some money on, and work on exciting projects, as they also, of course, see that very often they need to access content online in English or in any other language, because their own language is not represented yet. And as we were looking into this direction, we also realized that for this kind of task, so for new content generation, the typical CAT tools would not really be suitable, as often they are very heavy and inflexible and would not really suit our needs, where we really needed to be able to have minimal project management overhead, a place where we can distribute small tasks as efficiently as possible, and where people do not really need much training to get started. And to show you a little bit more how it works, HLP platform is developed by TAUS. It's our own homegrown tool, which means we have full freedom to adjust it as we want to. So it is meant to be a microtask platform that can be developed depending on a need. So here is an illustration of how we managed our first project, which was the crowd translation project. So everything starts with, of course, the source preparation that can either be provided by the customer or sourced through the TAUS data repository. We prepare the data, making sure that it is ready for the job, that it is clean, normalized, and ready to be imported into the portal, chunked into small tasks, which, I mean, that is one of the, that's the nature of crowd source translation, right? That these tasks will be small enough to ensure efficiency, but then not too small to ensure that translators are motivated and interested to keep working on it and finish them quickly. We have a crowd worker onboarding process where we engage with local ambassadors who are located in the country, who do the training, making sure that they understand the task. Then we have the production process starts, which in this case was translation, but it can also, of course, be annotation or transcription or any other task, depending on the need. There is an auto QA step where we check the delivered work, and then based on the results, the review step will either be a spot check or a serious check, and then depending on that, the task either will be accepted or rejected, and then it will move into the final stages where the final content will be again verified, also with the help of the smart NLP tricks that Amir and his team are working on to really ensure that what we deliver at the end meets the needs. So this is quite much different from the traditional translation scenario, where you would have content being sent to a professional translator, and you would have overhead of sometimes 3, 4, 5 project quality managers who would look at the translation, but which of course also is what sometimes is needed, but the process can be very long and inefficient. And through this crowdsourced work, we do see that we can move much quicker. We have all the freedom in the world to adjust the platform that we use to make sure that it meets our requirements. Yes, so that's about bit about the HLP platform. So over to you, Annemai.
Yes. So yeah, what Jaap said in the beginning, of course, we are not moving away completely from the think tank. So I can be very short about this. The events and media that you're used to from TAUS will still be coming your way. A lot of it virtual, as you all know. We'll be continuing our webinars. We have now opened a series on the data market, but also a virtual event, a data summit coming up in November. You might have also seen the TAUS talks that we've been doing. These are a video series with personalities and tech gurus and just very interesting people and thought leaders in our industry talking about the developments in our industry as well. And then also, hopefully, we'll be back in person in the fall in 2021. And I also have indeed one slide, which is the next one, just briefly stating the dates and the facts about the upcoming events. So keep an eye out for more news on more events. And that's, I think now it's back to Milos.
Yes, hi again. I hope you can hear me. So here are the 4 business models how you can engage with TAUS. The first one is with set prices and pay as you go. Obviously, you can decide on what to purchase and pay as you go, as the word says. Second one is custom and value based for our custom solutions and for the big inquiries. So big inquiries of the data services and similar. We're quite flexible with offering attractive discount on high volume purchases. Third one is membership, and the fourth one is partnership. So let's go to the membership. Next slide. Yes, so the membership has been changed comparing to the previous years, where we want to add more value for the actual money to our members. Our members will get a specific combination of event registration, course registration, data credits for a specific fixed fee for a year, and the value is obviously way higher than that they're paying for. Partnerships. Next slide, please. We're behind the schedule, so I'm in a bit hurry. Please don't mind. So the partners obviously have the highest level of involvement with TAUS team. They decide on a direction and a roadmap of TAUS. We involve our partners in the partner board meetings once every quarter, and the additional benefit for the partners is the partner credits. Every partner gets 60,000 credits worth €1, and these credits are purchased for the price of 40,000 euros, which is automatically 33% discount. The list of our partners is at the bottom, and we hope to see our partners again next year, and maybe a few more big tech names. The academic program is it's been there already for years. We are assisting universities with different assets like data. They also have access to some free resources like the publication, and they also have significant discount on courses, and we're here to continue the support and to work together with the universities. Back to you, Jaap, for the 4 pillars final wording.
Yeah, just real brief. As I promised at the beginning, we've made this journey from the industry kind of think tank to this language data network, but we keep some of these very characteristics of an industry platform in our DNA, if you like, going forward. And that in particular, I'd like to highlight that is the communal approach. You know, what we do on the data side is not a one-on-one service in principle. What we collect, what we create, what we aggregate through the marketplace now is being shared. It's open. Our vision stays very much in that way intact of helping the world communicate better, or realizing a future of translation out of the wall. Also means trying to create as much as possible an equal level playing field, giving more and more parties access to the data they need. So that is a key element in our approach, so to say. And also the governance, you know, the provenance of the data, on the data marketplace, we try to show exactly where not just the data sets, but where each segment is coming from. What is the source, who's been using this, and that is a very important element, if you like, to create trust in the data. There's more to say about this, but I want to stop here so that we have 10 minutes left for questions with the board members. First of all, I heard Alain Lavie has joined us as well in the meantime. So if I can invite you to open up your cameras again. Jim, Jean, Mai, Wayne, and Alain, thank you. That makes 6, nice full screen. And we'll also be watching the chat board on the from the audience, if there are questions from the audience. But first, over to you, gentlemen. We couldn't find any of the female board members free today to join, so it's an all-man board today. Who wants to go? Any questions? We had one question from the audience. Yeah, just to warm you up, because maybe it's one of the questions you had. How do we guarantee that the data that is being offered on the marketplace is of good quality? I think Anderson did address that a little bit in a short presentation. There's a cleaning service. First of all, that's a feature that's built in the marketplace. So, and then we have to rate and review. And then you can see how often data is being downloaded and used by others, which usually is a sign that the data must be of good quality as well. If I missed anything, I'm sure that somebody will speak up now, but there are some factors and features that will give a good indication of quality of data. Over to you, gentlemen.
So yeah, I have, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, Alan.
All right, Jim, you go.
Yeah, it's maybe an observation, right? Like one having to do with some of these trends that we were talking about that have emerged, and of course, the value of data is, I think, a hugely important one. But the other trend is looking at like the rise of Airbnb and Uber. These companies have ended up monetizing what were otherwise latent assets for people. And I wonder if you see an analogy there, that people are sitting on like data that would otherwise be like their sort of leftover ephemera, but could actually be made more useful and usable, when brought to the marketplace.
Yeah, I could say there is some analogy, but there's more to our model, because we help make the data also more useful to the seller herself. The company that's considering to offer the data to the marketplace will get a free cleaning and anonymization service, and if they publish it on the data marketplace, they actually benefit from the clustered search that we have available on the marketplace. Plus possible additional features that will be developed over time. I believe that many of the stakeholders in this industry underestimate the effort it will take to make their data ready for the training of neural machine translation engines. It's typically not in the right shape and form now, because they need to have the data more organized by domain. It needs to be cleaner, it needs to be filtered, deduplicated, and a lot of manipulations and actions are required for the. So it's not just making some money out of the data by selling it to other users, but also making the data more useful to themselves.
Has TAUS done any work around maybe quantifying some of that value, as far as, and as you know, yeah, we're looking at some of those cleaning services right now, but do you get some expectation of better leveraging from these cleaner data sets, or maybe better quality, or less, easier to post edit so you get more productivity, anything along those lines?
Well, I think we can pass this question maybe on to the machine translation specialists on the board here, Jean or Alain. What is clean? What is the difference of clean data? what's the additional or the increased value of having clean data and define clean? I think that's kind of the question Wayne is asking. Alon or Jean, you comment on that?
Yeah, I think it's a very complicated question. So we obviously know what is not clean. It's more complex to know what is clean, and it's really depending on the application. Sometimes we want to have unclean data for training some dialogue model, for instance. So it's a very important question. What I see in your approach, Jaap, and is that you are a very holistic approach on the data acquisition and sharing, and it's really interesting because, to my knowledge, there is nothing like that exists. I have a question on the thing that is most important for me is that you keep the ownership. Ownership is it was my comment at the beginning. It was something that is missing today. We think that the data is free and that you can just take data and make money out of that. It's not what you have in mind with the data marketplace, if I correctly understand. I have one question about the connection between data marketplace and data matching. So we have been using data matching and we love the feature for some time. It really makes a big difference when training
the matching
model. Yes. So how do you put the two together? Because if you have some data coming from a data marketplace, how is the owner at the end will get some retribution from that? Is based on the number of sentences, is a fixed fee? Do you have any already solution for that?
Thanks for that question, Jean, because we didn't touch on that today because it's actually the next release of the data marketplace. This is the first release that we do next week or next month, sorry, in a few weeks. Which will just support the trading of data sets. But the next release in June will have the matching data or this clustered search built into the data marketplace. And what that means is that buyers can upload a sample data set, the query corpus, to the data marketplace, which will trigger this clustered search process. So each segment of the query corpus will be compared with each segment in the entire TAUS data cloud, and a corpus will be created on the fly, fully tuned and customized to the user's needs, based on that query corpus. Which means that indeed, as you're suggesting, we're creating a new corpus that may be a collection and composition of segments from 1,000 different uploaders or sellers. So that's a rather complex kind of feature, of course, and process in the backend, because we need to provide for a micropayment service. People will be paid on a segment by segment basis. So yeah, but that's coming. That's in the planning for June next year. And also to respond to your question, yeah, we have a solid legal framework which has been pretty much in place since 2008. When the data cloud was created the first time, has been maintained, of course, over time, and we've done a new revision. But core to this legal framework is that the sellers, the providers of data, remain the owners of the data, copyright owners. Indeed.
So the only comment I can maybe add from my side is that I see great value in very specialized data sets going forward, increasingly so. And I think the TAUS is very timely in actually creating a marketplace that is suited basically for opening the possibility for players here in the industry to both create and monetize specialized data sets. And I think it'll go beyond, what we've been used to in the past, which is like particularly translation memories and bilingual data sets, into highly specialized by domain, specialized by language or language variation, in some cases, and annotated data sets. I think this is a very timely move to creating that flexibility, because there's incredibly exciting things happening with large pre-trained models that I think will have a big impact on MT. So I think going forward, it's not going to be so much about training models from scratch, training machine translation or other models from scratch. It's going to be about having the right specialized data to specialize, adapt, and generate high-performing models using a variety of specialized data sets. And TAUS should be well positioned basically to make that happen.
Yeah, thank you. And maybe it's interesting, just before we close, Jean, if you'd like to comment on that, because a lot of people are obviously aware of Systran's marketplace and maybe confused that TAUS is launching a marketplace and Systran is launching a marketplace as well. Would you mind explaining briefly before we part here what the difference is between the two?
Yes, I think it's fully complementary, because what we are in mind is we want to make a train model marketplace. And to train model, you need to have some data. So I think that we are exactly going in the same direction. So a model is a bit more than data, because you need to have expertise too on the language itself. But basically, someone who wants to contribute to a good domain will just need to get some good data from your side, invest a bit of time and energy, and try to make the model as the best as he can, and he can publish the model on domain marketplace that we are launching. So I really see that going exactly in the same direction, where the owner keeps the ownership of what he's doing, which is the most important, I think.
Thank you, Jean. With that, we're 1 minute over the hour. If there are more questions on the GoToWebinar pane, then we'll check that and we'll answer that in email after this webinar. I'd like to thank our board members for joining us, and thank everybody for joining us today. And we look forward to talking to you again. There will be quite a few more events, virtual events, of course, from TAUS Data Summit coming up early November, but more specific moments where we will elaborate on the data marketplace and present the early sellers on the marketplace as well. So thank you all very much. Have a great rest of the day or evening. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye.
Bye-bye.